And I guess it's just me tonight. So I don't know. She was on her way upstairs. So welcome to the training call tonight, everybody. Welcome to the training call. Eden was on her way up, and then she got stuck speaking with the contractor that's here doing some work with us. So I guess it's just you and the big-eared kid tonight. So bear with me. Bear with me. All right. So I hope everybody's well. So I'm going to do something a little bit different tonight. I'm going to freestyle a little bit, if that's okay with you guys, because there's some things that have been coming up, and I've been seeing some patterns. And typically when I see patterns, it's time for me to kind of just talk about those patterns that I'm seeing. So I want you guys to play with me for a second. When you guys think about, okay, no, I shouldn't do that. When you guys think about living a life that is above the line, when you think about living a life that's above the line, can you guys see this okay? No? Yes? Let me go to speaker view, by the way. Is that better? Okay, when you think about living above the line, what are some words that make you think above the line? When you think above the line, what do you guys think about? What are some words? Integrity. So, all right, so abundance, integrity. Oh boy, here we go. One of the first things as a speaker, always test your markers. Oh no, time out. Integrity, joy I saw, honor, abundant, honor, commitment. Let's see, what else? Fulfilled, freedom, what else? Let's see, commitment. Again, when you think about living a life that's above the line, what do you think about? What comes to mind for you? Above the line. All right. Passion. Loyalty I saw. Okay. Adventure, travels. So adventure, travel. Okay, stress-free I saw. Okay, gratitude. Love. Okay, what else? Alignment. Alignment, connection. So Chelsea said no negativity, so we'll say positivity. Okay. Family time. Okay. Family and time. Charitable, so contribution. I love that. So charitable. All right, cool. Get rid of the bad apple, so positive, so great relationships, right? So positive people. Okay. All right. And when you think about a life that is below the line, what do you think about? What comes up for you? What's below the line? So struggle and hardships. So struggle, negativity, debt I saw, stress, depression. Okay. Lack. All right. So lack, overhit, challenges. What else? Unhealthy. Okay, unhealthy. No motivation. Oh, hi.
Hi.
Uninspired. Here, baby, you can help me.
What time is it?
It's call 10.
Oh, I was talking to Tony.
Can you read some of these things?
Doubt, frowned upon,
Doubt,
uncomfortable. Hi, guys.
uncomfortable.
Comparison mode.
So, uncomfortable, comparison,
I think that's drowning,
drowning.
anger, stinking thinking, throwback,
I heard that a long time.
throwback,
Stinking thinking.
undeserving. What was the question?
Well, don't worry about that.
Okay. Lost, unwanted. Whew, this is heavy. Unemployment,
Unemployed.
poverty,
Okay.
anxiety, confused,
Confused.
unworthy, uncomfortable, unhealthy,
Okay.
lazy, stuck.
All right, I got all this.
Okay.
All right.
Do you want me to do this with you, or?
I think I got it
already
from here. Yeah,
got
thank you.
Sorry, I got lost in conversation.
That's all right. It's okay. All right. So, would you rather live a life that is above the line or below the line? Above or below? Just type in the chat box. Above the line or below the line? Above. Okay. All right. Now, can anyone tell me what this line is right here? Does anyone know what happens to be the thing that splits these two worlds apart? Now, some would argue, how many of you would agree that this looks like heaven and this looks like hell? How many of you would say this looks like heaven, this looks like hell, based on the way we've kind of been explained it and indoctrinated with it, right? Heaven, hell. On earth, at least. Okay. What is the line? There's this line that has an equal energy between both heaven and hell. It separates these two things. What is it? Eric and Shannon are saying choice. Not choice, but good. It goes equal ways. Everyone experiences it. There's a separator between being able to live a life that's above the line or below the line. Intention, mindset, choice, attitude, okay? These are all good. These are all good. These are great. These are great. These are all good. I'm gonna offer something different. Can anyone see what that says? Resistance. Every day, you face resistance. You face resistance from a life that's going to take you below the line or something that's going to take you above the line. Now, some of you said choice. The difference between what keeps you living in heaven or what keeps you in hell, here on earth anyways, we're not getting religious or spiritual, right? The difference between living a life that's above the line or a life that's below the line is how you handle resistance. How you handle what's going to constantly run through your life at all times is the difference between living a life above the line or below the line. Now, have I always lived my life above the line? No. Have I absolutely lived my life where I was struggling, stressed out, depressed, almost in poverty, tons of debt, felt undeserving, had tons of challenges? I was uninspired. I was in comparison mode. I had stinking thinking and I was angry. Have there been times in my life where I lived well below the line? Yes. And why did I live below the line? The reason I lived below the line is because the way I looked at resistance was from the perspective of being a victim. And I wish this had better, we have no good markers to it.
I know, it's on the list.
Victim. I was a victim. I was a victim to the resistance I was experiencing. I chose to be bitter. I chose to be defiant. I chose to defend myself. I chose to continue to feel like I had to prove something to somebody. I chose to bring people into my victim story so that I could bring them down here with me. I was the crab in the bucket. You ever hear that story? If you put two crabs in a bucket, one's going to try and climb out, the other one's going to pull the other one back down. How many of you guys have some crabs in your life? How many of you guys have some crabs in your life? How many of you guys are the crab in your life right now, right? And how do you know that you're the crab in your life? How easy was it for you to come up with these things about below the line more so than it was about living a life above the line? Did you guys notice, just notice how quickly a arsenal of below the line definitions came out right away? Did you notice how easily it was for all of you guys to come up with what it meant to live below the line? And yet how they kind of slowly trickled in when it came to above the line. It was so much easier. It's so much easier to focus on the stuff in our life that keeps us below the line. And so my question to you is, how are you handling resistance? And to what degree are you willing to have some resiliency and to have a little bit of grit? All of you have demonstrated resiliency or grit in some capacity in your life at some time. And the only thing keeping you from living a life above the line at all times is the resiliency and grit with which you meet this resistance. Because would you agree that no matter how much money you're making, no matter how much free time you have, no matter how much you're able to work from home, no matter how big your house is, no matter how big the car is, would you agree that the universe, God, whatever you want to call it, is going to find a way to make sure that there's just a little bit of resistance? How many of you would agree that no matter what, if it, Les Brown says it all the time, he said, if it ain't one thing, it's another. If it ain't one thing, it's another. There's always going to be this resistance that determines where we live, above the line or below the line, above the line or below the line. There's always going to be resistance. How you choose to interpret that resistance with resiliency and grit is what's going to determine, and the level to which you exude your resilience and grit is going to determine if you stay above the line or if you stay below the line. Now, is it possible to just barely get above the line and then slip down below the line? Yes. How many of you have had that experience before? I'm going to go to gallery mode real quick so I can see you all. How many of you have had that experience, right? You get above the line, you're like, it's working, things are happening, then all of a sudden, a little bit of life happens, a little bit of resistance, somebody returns their products, one of your consultants falls out, you were at 7, you were so close to executive, next thing you know, you're at 3, and all of a sudden you're like, oh, I'm below the line again. How many of you guys have had that experience? Right, just using Isagenix as an example, okay? If you're not raising your hand right now, you're lying, because I know all your back offices, I see all the numbers, right? We see it all, okay? So the first step in transformation is acknowledging the ways in which we've contributed to our results as they are right now. It's just raising an awareness. All I'm doing right now is raising an awareness, and then we're going to reframe it, and I'm going to show you how to create something new. Cool. So we get above the line a little bit, and then we fall back down below the line. Now, when you fall back down below the line, is it easier to fall further down below the line, or is it easy to bounce back up above the line? What do you guys say? Type in the chat box. Is it easier to fall? It's like a game show. You guys are like pointing down, right? So all of you would agree that once you start to drop down a little bit, it's easier to fall and spiral. It's easier to fall and spiral than it is to bounce back up, right? It just is. It's easier to fall and spiral. Now, why is it easier to fall and spiral? It's easier to fall and spiral for the same reason it was easier for you guys to type in a bunch of negative things way more quickly than you did a bunch of above the line things. And why is that? That's because we're conditioned to live where? Below the line. And all of a sudden, we start to spiral, and all the self-doubt, and all the sabotage, and all the negativity, and all the people that told us not to do certain things, they were right. And so now they were right, that makes me wrong, and further down I go until I reach a point of apathy, and I'm basically just done, and what's the point? Now, how do you stay How do you get above the line and stay above the line? How do you get above the line and stay above the line? What do you guys say? Mindset, sure. What else? How do you get above the line and stay above the line? Change your state, potentially. Close. Read, sure. Determination, maybe. Always be doing the work, yes. Identify habits that need change. This is how I know some of you guys have been with me a while. Some of these answers are great. Action and resistance, okay? What else? How can I, it's so easy for me to get below the line and then drop like a free fall, right? It's a free fall and we feel like, you're like, ah! How can I get above the line and then just stay above the line? So that if I do face some resistance, where I drop down to is a little bit middle of the road. Here's where I live. I live up here. I live way the F up here. I live way the F up here. Now, so if I get hit with some resistance, which I do all the time, where do I fall to? Right about here. And some of you have seen that with me. Some of you have experienced that with me, where you see me going through personal resistance. And the big question is, how do you stay so calm? How do you stay so positive? How are you still okay with this? How is your perception a certain way? So how do you get way the F up here? Somebody says practice. Somebody says tap into your why. Shannon Kalana say IPAs. Sure. I love that. Okay? How do you do it? How do you do it? How do you do it? You learn to embrace the journey and you learn to embrace the resistance. Now, how the F do you embrace the journey when you're experiencing resistance? Because how many of you guys have heard people like me, personal growth people, things like that, just embrace the journey, just enjoy the journey, right? Just like, how do you enjoy it? Right? How many of you guys have heard that? And sometimes you're like, shut up. Shut up. There's nothing about this that I want to embrace. There's nothing that feels good about this. What does that even mean, Lisa's saying? Like, I don't get it. Don't tell me to embrace the journey when I'm down here, because you don't know what my journey is like. So how do we embrace the journey when we just get a little bit of resistance? What can we do? So Leo says, I look for gratitude in the worst of challenges. Sure. Okay, cool. Gratitude's one thing. But ultimately, the key to getting above the line is focusing only on the things you can control. And there are very few things in this world that you can actually control. So what can you control? What are the things that you can absolutely control? And then I'm going to show you how to bump up the line even further. I'm going to show you how to get to the top of the high level. What are the things that you can always control? What can we always control? The way you react. Sometimes, Ramona, sometimes we can get really good at that. That takes a lot of work. What are the things we can control? Shan says my actions. What kinds of actions? Even a realization can be challenging to control. Guys, just even more, sometimes, Debbie, sometimes not, right? That's about evolution of consciousness. You control your thoughts. Is it that simple? No, I wish it was. If we controlled our thoughts as easily as us gurus say, then none of us would be down here ever. Food choices. Thank you, Grish. What else can we control? So we control what we eat. What else? What else? You can control what you drink. What else? You control who you surround yourself with. And you control what you do every single day. The only things that you can control at the end of the day are what you eat, what you drink, and who you surround yourself with, and the actions that you take. So there's a little mantra that I live my life by that helped me up level. And it's called, some of you have heard me say this before, it's called WOMWOW. Write this down, WOMWOW. W-O-M-W-O. WOMWOW. W-O-M-W-O-W. WOMWOW. WOMWOW. Work on myself, work out, work. Work on myself, work out, work. Those are three things that you can always control when you're being met with resistance. Part of the reason we spiral down is because we don't think we can control any of what we're experiencing. And since we lose control in our mind, we start to lose control in our world. How many of you have fallen off your product system because you've been met with some resistance? How many of you, right? How many of you have had a little bit of momentum going in your business, and the next thing you know, everything disappears and you can't understand why? And it's because of how we're handling resistance. So now here's how we start to creep up and creep up and creep up until you're way the F up here. And that is about our choices on the micro level. So the way that we embrace the journey, the way that we learn to enjoy the process, is that we give all of ourselves to everything that we can control, and we give up and let go of everything that we can't. And we trust that when we take one step, God or the universe, whatever it is for you, takes 1,000. The way to get up here is by taking one step at a time. Every choice that I make, is this choice going to take me above the line or below the line? Is this choice going to take me further above the line or closer to the resistance line? Is this choice going to take me below the line or above the line? It's that simple. And yet we get so caught up with thinking that above the line means the big house, means the car, means the financial freedom. But it doesn't. It doesn't mean any of those things. Above the line is the ability in the moment to choose something that's either going to take you closer or further away. So I let go of all the big goals. I let go of my attachment to all the material things. I let go of the mask that I was wearing that said I should be someone else, and just concern for anybody else's opinion about my life. And I simply focused on day-to-day simple choices. One, I went to work on myself, I worked out, and I worked. That's it. That's all I did. And I did it relentlessly and obsessively. And then I came in my choices, I looked at them. Does this choice that I'm about to make get me above the line or below the line? Does smoking pot with my friend, Brody, cover yours. Does smoking pot with my friends get me above the line or below the line? Does going out drinking tonight get me above the line or below the line? Does eating fast food take me above the line or below the line? Does going on dates with women who I was only interested in one thing with take me above the line or below the line? These were hard questions that I had to be willing to ask myself. Does this choice take me above the line or below the line? And that goes for your thoughts too, Leo, when you're talking about changing your thoughts. Does this thought take me above the line or below the line? Life is, for the most part, as simple and complex as anything we'll ever experience. And that's the beautiful contrast. That's the paradox of life. Life is this remarkable contrast. It is above the line and it is below the line, and it's all happening simultaneously. And how you experience it comes down to your micro choices on a day-to-day basis. And what's amazing is when you focus on micro choices that take you above the line, one day you wake up and go, holy crap, all the macro stuff is here. And it's far more enjoyable and it's far more peaceful. And then what happens is you find yourselves in situations, you find yourself in relationships. Does this relationship take me above the line or below the line? Does this energy take me above the line or below the line? Does what I'm about to do take me above the line or below the line? My intuition says it's going to take me below the line, but I'm going to do it because I don't want to let somebody down. So when you do things out of obligation, when you do things that aren't really in alignment with what you really want to be doing, are you going above the line or below the line? You're going below the line. One little extra. How I live my life is I only do what feels good always and in all ways. That's my invitation to you tonight. Do what feels good always and in all ways. We love you guys. I'm going to post a tile in the Facebook group. Let us know what you learned. Have a great evening. Thank you guys for joining us. We'll talk to you soon.